What's going on, guys? This is Josh, and this is part 22 of the Montana CDL Manual for 2016. And sorry about the abrupt cutoff. Actually, the air brake section I found made me kind of tense and made me nervous because it sounds like there's a lot of ways for the air brakes to go wrong. And I still can't find the answer for, like, front wheel brakes are good under all conditions, true or false. But upon reflection, I think it's probably false. Because if there's ice, no brakes are going to be good on ice. So I kind of feel like that's probably false. Probably. But I can't find the answer. I've Googled. I'm going to reach out to one of my friends and see what she says. But I couldn't really find an answer. So we covered the air brakes, and even if, you know, that one question was a little suspect, we were able to find the answers for all the other questions. We didn't have any other questions for the last video, so make sure you look at my pants in the description bar for the link to this PDF file online, which you can download. There's a test website, a website for tests that you can practice with. There is a link to a YouTube video for Ruby, a Wil-Trans instructor. She takes you through the pre-trip, and it's really good. Like, it's a really good video to watch. And also there's links to Allie Knight, Ellie, and the Crafty trucker, because all of them at one point or another in their own way have offered both Maggie and Marvin and myself encouragement, wisdom, insight, and guidance. So we appreciate them all. So please go show them some love. Okay, now what we're covering in this section, Section 5, it's still technically under air brakes, page 5-5, and it's the dual air brake, 5.2. And I'm going to first off show you the figure because, excuse me, I have the hiccups, because it wants me to. Actually, if I do that, that should help a bit. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can't and you want to, go online and look at the PDF. The link is in my pants. So, that's a thing. So, yeah. Okay. Dual air brake. Most heavy-duty vehicles use dual air brake systems for safety. A dual air brake system has two separate air brake systems, which use a single set of brake controls. Each system has its own air tanks, hoses, lines, etc. One system typically operates the regular brakes on the rear axle or axles. The other system operates the regular brakes on the front axle and possibly one rear axle. Both systems supply air to the trailer if there is one. The first system is called the primary system, and the other is called the secondary system, and in that figure that I just showed you, it shows them. Okay. Before driving a vehicle with the dual air system, allow time for the air compressor to build up a minimum of 100 psi pressure in both the primary and secondary systems. Watch the primary and secondary air pressure gauges or needles if the system has two needles and one gauge. Pay attention to the low air pressure warning light and buzzer. The warning light and buzzer should shut off when the air pressure in both systems rises to a value set by the manufacturer. This value must be greater than 60 psi. The warning light and buzzer should come on before the air pressure drops below 60 psi in either system. If this happens while driving, you should stop right away and safely park the vehicle. If one air system is very low in pressure, either the front or the rear brakes will not be operating fully. This means it will take you longer to stop. Bring the vehicle to a safe stop, and have the air brake systems fixed. Alright, next page, 5.6, excuse me. 5.3, inspecting air brake systems. You should use the basic 7-step inspection procedure described in Section 2 to inspect your vehicle. There are more things to inspect on a vehicle with air brakes than one without them. These things are discussed below in the order they fit into the 7-step method. 5.3.1, during Step 2, engine compartment checks. Check the air compressor drive belt if the compressor is belt-driven. If the air compressor is belt-driven, check the condition and tightness of the belt. It should be in good condition. 5.3.2, during Step 5 walk-around inspection. Check slack adjusters on S-cam brakes. Park on level ground and chock the wheels to prevent the vehicle from moving. Release the parking brakes so you can move the slack adjusters. Use gloves and pull hard on each slack adjuster that you can reach. If a slack adjuster moves more than about 1 inch where the push rod attaches to it, it probably needs adjustment. Adjust it or have it adjusted. Vehicles with too much brake slack can be very hard to stop. Out-of-adjustment brakes are the most common problem found in roadside inspections. Be safe, check the slack adjusters. All vehicles built since 1994 have automatic slack adjusters. Even though automatic slack adjusters adjust themselves during full brake applications, they must be checked. Automatic adjusters should not have to be manually adjusted except when performing maintenance on the brakes and during installation of the slack adjusters. In a vehicle equipped with automatic adjusters, when the pushrod stroke exceeds the legal brake adjustment limit, it's an indication that a mechanical problem exists in the adjuster itself, a problem with the related foundation brake components, or that the adjuster was improperly installed. The manual adjustment of an automatic adjuster to bring a brake pushrod stroke within legal limits is generally masking a mechanical problem and is not fixing it. Further, routine adjustment of most automatic adjusters will likely result in premature wear of the adjuster itself. It is recommended that when brakes equipped with automatic adjusters are found to be out of adjustment, the driver take the vehicle to a repair facility as soon as possible to have the problem corrected. The manual adjustment of automatic slack adjusters is dangerous because it may give the driver a false sense of security regarding the effectiveness of the braking system. The manual adjustment of an automatic adjuster should only be used as a temporary measure to correct the adjustment in an emergency situation, as it is likely the brake will soon be back out of adjustment, since this procedure usually does not fix the underlying adjustment problem. Note: automatic slack adjusters are made by different manufacturers and do not all operate the same. Therefore, the specific manufacturer's service manual should be consulted prior to troubleshooting a brake adjustment problem. Check brake drums or discs, linings, and hoses. Brake drums or discs must not have cracks longer than 1/2 the width of the friction area. Bless you.
Thank you.
Linings, friction material, must not be loose or soaked with oil or grease. They must not be dangerously thin. Mechanical parts must be in place, not broken or missing. Check the air hoses connected to the brake chambers to make sure they aren't cut or worn due to rubbing. 5.3.3, Step 7, Final Air Brake Check. Do the following checks instead of the hydraulic brake check shown in Section 2, Step 7. Check brake system. Test low pressure warning signal. Shut the engine off when you have enough air pressure so that the low pressure warning signal is not on. Turn the electrical power on and step on and off the brake to reduce the air tank pressure. The low air pressure warning signal must come on before the pressure drops to less than 60 psi in the air tank or tank with the lowest air pressure. In dual systems, see Figure 5.5. Now, Ruby actually shows this in the video that I've recommended you guys watch. There's the figure they want you to look at. Ruby shows like pumping the brakes to drop the pressure to show that pressure warning signal does come on. If the warning signal doesn't work, you could lose air pressure and you would not know it. This could cause sudden emergency braking in a single circuit air system. In dual systems, the stopping distance will be increased. Only limited braking can be done before the spring brakes come on. Okay. Check that spring brakes come on automatically. Continue to fan off the air pressure by stepping on and off the brake pedal to reduce the tank pressure. The tractor protection valve and parking brake valve should close, pop out on a tractor-trailer combination vehicle, and the parking brake valve should close, pop out on other combination and single vehicle types when the air pressure falls to the manufacturer's specification, 20 to 45 psi. This will cause the spring brakes to come on. We're now on page 5-7. Check rate of air pressure buildup. When the engine is at an operating RPMS, The pressure should build from 85 to 100 psi within 45 seconds in dual air systems. If the vehicle has larger than minimum air tanks, the buildup time can be longer and still be safe. Check the manufacturer's specifications. In single air systems pre-1975, typical requirements are pressure buildup from 50 to 90 psi within 3 minutes when the engine is at an idle speed of 600 to 900 rpms. If air pressure does not build up fast enough, your pressure may drop too low during driving, requiring an emergency stop. Don't drive until you get the problem fixed. Test air leakage rate. When a fully charged air system, typically 125 psi, with a fully charged air system, typically 125 psi, turn off the engine, release the parking brake, push it in, and time the air pressure drop. The loss rate should be less than 2 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles and less than 3 psi in 1 minute for combination vehicles. With the air pressure built up in the governor cutoff, 120 to 140 psi, shut off the engine, chock your wheels if necessary, release the parking brake, all vehicles, and the tractor protection valve, combination vehicle, and fully apply the foot brake. Hold the foot brake for 1 minute. Check the air gauge to see if the air pressure drops more than 3 pounds in 1 minute, single vehicle, or 4 pounds in 1 minute for a combination vehicle. If the air pressure falls more than 3 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles and more than 4 psi for combination vehicles, the air loss rate is too much. Check for air leaks and fix before driving the vehicle. Otherwise, you could lose your brakes while driving. Check your air compressor governor. Cut in and cut out pressures. Pumping by the air compressor should start at about 100 psi and stop at about 125 psi. Check your manufacturer's specifications. Run the engine at a fast idle. The air governor should cut out the air compressor at about the manufacturer's specified pressure. The air pressure shown by your gauge or gauges will stop rising. With the engine idling, step on and off the brake to reduce the air tank pressure. The compressor should cut in at about the manufacturer's specified cut-in pressure. The pressure should begin to rise. If the air governor does not work as described above, it may need to be fixed. A governor that does not work properly may not keep enough air pressure for safe driving. Test your parking brake. Stop the vehicle, put the parking brake on, and gently pull against it in a low gear to test that the parking brake will hold. Test service brakes. Wait for normal air pressure. Release the parking brake. Move the vehicle forward slowly, about 5 miles per hour, and apply the brakes firmly using the brake pedal. Note any vehicle pulling to one side, unusual feel, or delayed stopping action. This test may show you problems which you otherwise wouldn't know about until you needed the brakes on the road. Okay. Subsections 5.2 and 5.3, test your knowledge. I hate these. Number 1, what is a dual air brake system? There's 2 containers. One of them typically handles the back axles and one typically handles the front. And it's primary and secondary. Dual air brake. 2 separate air brake systems which use a single set of brake controls. Each system has its own air tanks. One system typically operates the regular brakes on the rear axle or axles. The other system operates the regular brakes on the front axle and possibly one rear axle. Both systems supply air to the trailer if there is one. The first system is called primary, other is called secondary.
Wow, that's...
What?
Who would have guessed?
I know, right? Question number 2. What are the slack adjusters? They're, they pick up... This is how badly I retain information by reading it. It's really kind of awful. Because I just read this to you. Which I should, so I should know it. The slack adjusters are basically... I don't know how to explain it. I can see them in my head. How I think you could explain them is essentially they do what they say. They pick up the slack of the brakes and they keep everything tight. I think. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna look. Where is it?
It's better to look and get the right answer than not look and have the wrong answer.
Yeah, I don't want to spend time talking about something that's not right. Especially, this is all brand new for me. I've never, like, I watched her video, Ruby's video, but, like, I don't know, other than that, I don't really know anything about this stuff. I've never, like, examined a truck in real life. I've just watched the video. So, we just read about them. Where the heck are they? Oh. Check slack adjusters. This is 4.3.2. Check slack adjusters on S-cam brakes. Park on level ground, chalk the wheels to prevent the vehicle from moving. Release the parking brakes so you can move the slack adjusters. Use gloves and pull hard on each slack adjuster that you can reach. If a slack adjuster moves more than about 1 inch where the push rod attaches to it, it probably needs adjustment. It doesn't say what it does. Why ask me a question that you didn't actually give me the information for? These questions are a little frustrating to me. Hey, Dobby.
Good afternoon, Josh.
Can you tell me what a slack adjuster is on a tractor trailer?
Let's see. Okay, I found this on the web for what a slack adjuster is on a tractor trailer.
Well, okay, that was useless. Dobby, you suck. I think what I said is right, but I'm not sure, and I would... What is a slack adjuster? Tractor trailer. I just want a simple answer. Because it doesn't say what it is. Which is a little frustrating that you're asking me a question that you didn't actually give me the information. At least I don't think they gave me the information because, like, I read you what it said about slack adjusters. Okay. The slack adjuster is the part of an air brake system that is used to adjust the brakes when needed. The slack adjuster is located on the air canister on the axle housing near the wheel. Okay, well that's what it is then. It's the part of an air brake system that's used to adjust the brakes when needed. But from what it sounded like, many trucks have automatic ones that you should not have to adjust. And if you're adjusting it, it sounds like you're covering up a more serious problem. I think she just took a picture of us without our permission. How do we feel about that? I'm not sure. Okay. Number 4. How can you test the low pressure warning signal? You're going to wait for the pressure. You're going to start the vehicle, wait for the pressure to build, turn the vehicle off, turn it on so that the electrical stuff is on, pump the brakes, and once it gets below 60 psi, bells and whistles should start slamming into your head. No? No. Test low pressure warning signal. Shut the engine off when you have enough air pressure so that the low pressure warning signal is not on. Turn the electrical power on and step on and off the brake pedal to reduce the tank pressure. The low air pressure warning signal must come on before the pressure drops to less than 60 psi in the air tank, or tank with the lowest air pressure. So that's basically mostly what I said. Number 5, how can you check that the spring brakes come on automatically? What I would for the spring brakes to work, you have to have little to no air pressure. So I would imagine it would involve depleting the air pressure and then being in gear. Okay. Check that spring brakes come on automatically. Continue to fan off the air pressure by stepping on and off the brake pedal to reduce tank pressure. The tractor protection valve and parking brake valve should close and pop out on a tractor-trailer combination vehicle. And, so basically when the air pressure falls to the manufacturer's specification 20 to 45 psi, this will cause the spring brakes to come on. Number 6, what are the maximum leakage rates? Oh, so for the previous question, it doesn't matter if you're in gear, I guess, and you don't have to be moving. You're setting, like, with the electrical stuff on. You're still fanning the brakes after doing your low pressure warning signal, and you keep fanning them until they're depleted to like 20 to 45 psi, and then the spring brakes knob should pop out. And that's how you know it's working. They're working. What are the maximum leakage rates? I feel like after you build up all of the pressure again in the air tanks, I feel like you're supposed to put your foot on the brake and hold it firmly. And I think it was, I know it's 1 minute for both checks. Something about a single vehicle is 3 minutes, and something about a combination vehicle is 3 pounds per minute, and something about the combination vehicle is 4 pounds per minute. Let me look. Test air leakage rate. With a fully charged air system, typically 125 psi, turn off the engine, release the parking brake, and time the air pressure drop. Oh, so this isn't with the truck on. So I had that part wrong. This is with the truck off and with the parking brake off, and okay, so the loss rate should be less than 2 psi in 1 minute for single vehicles and less than 3 psi for 1 minute for combination vehicles. So I was completely wrong. You don't have your foot on the brake. You actually release the parking brake and time the air pressure drop. So we're going to be driving a combination vehicle, so it should be less than 3 psi for 1 minute. Okay. Alright. And so that's all we have time for this. So we're going to stop here, and I'm going to get something to eat, and then we're going to come back with part 23, and that is going to be about using air brakes. We had no questions this time. Part 23 is next. Okay, guys. I want to thank you for hanging out and studying with me. Appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.